G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. We're just under a week away now from the All Blacks' first game of the Greatest Rivalry tour. They'll be taking on the Stormers on Friday. So I thought I'd give everyone a little bit of viewing All Blacks pleasure on a Sunday and drop the team that I would like to see and also the team that I think closely aligns with what Rennie might pick as well. Um, there's a couple of injury clouds in there still. It's still a bit too early to have more to have gotten more sort of insight, I guess, from Rennie. So yeah, there may be some guys in this team that I'm about to select that are ruled out through injury. Guys like Finianganofo, um, guys like Leroy Carter, who picked up injuries in the Nations Championship. So with that in mind, let's crack on and get into it. Righty, guys, let's get into it. So, starting off in the front row as usual, and this is a bit of a free for all, in my opinion. They could pick any number of combinations here. I mean, starting combinations and bench combinations. I think we all know that Cody Taylor is he's injured. He's not going to play. Guys like Lomax, to Groot, who had a lot of game time in the Nation Championship, I don't think will play. Um, Lomax also been quite injury prone, so he definitely won't be risked. Newell as well had a pretty busy season to date. And then you got to look at another guy like, Lawaki, a little bit raw and things like that. So there's different combinations they could go for. But I'm starting off. I've gone with Norris, Samasoni, and Tossi in the front row. The reason I've gone with this way is because if you look at combinations, Norris plays with Samasoni for the Chiefs, so I thought that was a nice little combo there. And then throwing in Tossi, who hasn't had a lot of game time throughout the Nations Championship. So yeah, just finding combinations where you can. I mean, if the other option, and I'll go straight into my front row on the bench. I have George Bell as the backup hooker, George Bauer, and the other prop is Siali Lawaki. Now, again, going into the combinations, George Bell and Bauer play together at the Crusaders, so I thought those were two sort of good starting points of what we might see. Now, who knows? Maybe Bauer, Bell, and Lawaki starts. I don't think so. I think we'll see Samasoni. He didn't get a lot of game time throughout the Nations Championship. Um, so yeah, that's what I think we will see, and I'd be very surprised to see Lowaki get picked in his first game. That will be to come, I guess, in due course. Moving into the locks, I have Tuipulotu and Derry. I avoided throwing Fabian Holland straight into the fire after he came back from injury. He's only played 40 minutes for Otago, so I think it's a little bit too much to ask of him to come in and just hit the ground running and start a test match. Who knows? He could be there. But I also went for Derry because he missed out on the Irish game. He didn't even make the team for that game. So it'd be nice to see him get a bit of game time. And also I went with Tui Pelotu because, in my opinion, you've got no Cody Taylor or Adi Savia. So I'm looking across that back line. There's no Roygaard, there's no Geordie Barrett, there's no Will Jordan. So your leadership group for the first team is sort of decimated there. And I think there's no one better to sort of lead this team than a guy like Tui Pelotu. So I could definitely see him getting the captaincy, and that's why I've thrown him in the starting 15. My Lucy, so number 6, I've gone with Simon Parker. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. He had zero time during the Nations Championship, so Rennie will be pretty keen to get a look at him. I've gone for Segner at 7. Obviously, we could have gone with Blackadder, but I thought Segner, he's come off the bench a couple of times. He's looked really good. And I just think that if Jacobson does go down or does pick up an injury, that Segner, for me, will be the one replacing him. You could make the argument that Blackadder is probably the most like for like, but I think Segner is very, very similar. So I don't know. I think maybe the only thing stopping Segner from taking that number 7 jersey, if Jacobson did get injured, is the fact that he doesn't have all that amount of experience with the All Blacks. So, yeah, nice to see him get some game time in that 7 jersey. So that's what I've gone for them. And then at number eight, I've gone with Satiti. He needs to bounce back. He didn't have a great game against the Italians. He got dropped for Ireland, and then just not a lot of game time. Hopefully, he's fit and healthy, and we can see him get some reps in and get back to his best. Um, the other option there was Larkai, who hasn't had a lot of game time, but I just felt that Satiti is in need of the minutes a little bit more. So that is what I've gone for there. Righty, so moving into the backs, at halfback, I've gone with Cortez Ratama. I just think he's, as much as I'd like to see Preston get the start, I just can't see Rennie going past the Ratama. Ratama's been getting about 5 minutes a game because he's stuck behind Roygaard. The logical move here is to start Ratama and Preston comes in after 70 minutes or something like that. I do think we will see more and more of Preston as the series goes on, but I think we'll start off with a Ratama there. Number 10, well, we all know that's already been confirmed that it's going to be Bowden Barrett. And now that I've just come across this, I've just realised I chose Tui Pelotu to be the captain. And I mean, it would make perfect sense that Bowden Barrett is the captain. I'm not entirely sure that he's captain material, but he's got the experience, right? There's probably, when you look across this team, do you really want, you've got about five or six leaders in the first team, right? And I can't see any of them playing, right? Unless, of course, you throw a Bowden Barrett in there at 12, a Geordie Barrett in there at 12 and give him the captaincy. I don't think we will. I don't think he'll risk any of them. I think we will see Bowden Barrett at 10, and then it's a toss up really between him or Tui Pelotu as the captain. I'll probably have to go with Bowden in the end, right? I would imagine they probably give it to him so that he can say he was a captain on the Greatest Rivalry Tour. But yeah, moving on, 12, I've got Anton Leonard Brown. I don't see Tavatava Nawai getting in this early. He's only got selected about a week ago. He hasn't been in the All Blacks camp for a while. I think it's going to take maybe a week or two to get him up to speed before he gets into the team. So for me, he's not there. I don't think, as I said, they're going to risk Geordie. And obviously, I don't think they're going to risk Quinn Tupaia either. So I think Anton Leonard Brown, although I'd probably prefer to see him at 13, I think we might see him at 12 for this weekend. Proctor, again, one of those guys, he wasn't the first choice 13 during the Nations Championship. He did get some time there, but we'd like to see him get a little bit more game time and get up to speed. Um, the other option there is someone like Rico, but Rico's been listed as an outside back. And while I think he will still get minutes at 13, I don't think it's going to be in the first game. So that's why I've gone with Proctor there. And then to continue the combination building, I've gone in Whinianganofo at 14, just outside Proctor. We saw how many tries Proctor put on a platter for Whinianganofo this season. So that's a nice little combination there to carry on into the All Blacks, provided Whinianganofo is fit. Of course, he picked up that injury against the French, so hopefully he's fit, and I would see him straight back into the team. I have gone Rico on the other wing. I think he's back in New Zealand now, and he hasn't gotten any minutes, so I don't see why they wouldn't run him out there in his 11 jersey, which he had for a while. So yeah, I can see him getting the 11 jersey plus an injection of experience in that team as well. And then a little bit of a personal decision here, and I've gone with Josh Morby at 15. I just really want to see him get a look in at 15, and I don't think we're going to see it um, against South Africa in the first team, because you've got obviously DMAC and Will Jordan who are the preferred options. But I just think it would be a good idea to get a look at Morby at fullback. He has played there for the Hurricanes. I think he's a very good option, and it'd just be, I think, common sense to have a look at him there, just so you can tick that box and say, hey, you know what, we if DMAC gets injured or DMAC moves to 10, they don't necessarily have to move Will Jordan to 15 if you've got Morby in there. So just another little box tick, in my opinion, just to have a look at him there. I don't think you're going to lose anything by putting him back there, to be honest. Um, yeah, moving on to the bench, as I mentioned before, I've got George Bower. George Bell and Siali Lawaki there in the front row. Yeah, I know I have spoken about putting in guys who have only just been like in the All Black camp for a short time, but I don't think you risk any of the other guys around the first team. So I think Lawaki is the obvious choice there. Holland makes the bench, obviously still on his sort of comeback from injury. He got 40 minutes against or for Otago the other weekend. So you imagine they just, continue that reintegration into the All Blacks team. I don't think he's going to start, but I think he'll get a fair few minutes off the bench. And then I've got Blackadder. I've got Blackadder in there as the loose forward replacement. I just think it makes sense, right? Right now, he is the most like-for-like replacement for Luke Jacobson, even though I do see Segner as that long-term sort of replacement. So I think Blackadder needs some minutes. So I think he is the logical choice. He also covers the whole back row, and you don't have to worry about losing any size or anything like that by having a Larkai or something on the bench. You've got Blackadder who's a bit bigger and can is another line out option and so on. So I've got Blackadder in there. Over Larkai. All right, the back replacements. Number 9 replacement, Preston. That's a no-brainer, right? We all want to see him get some minutes. Number 10, I've got Jacob in there, and I know the All Blacks haven't chosen a 10 on the bench so far this year, although I think that's going to change now, right? With you don't have the luxury of that Love DMAC sort of 10-15 combo there, where you can switch them out if someone gets injured. So it would make sense to carry a 10 on the bench, and I think, well, obviously Jacob is the logical choice. I don't think you're going to throw Love out there, or DMAC or someone like that. So he's the only other guy, right? So I think you do have Jacob there, and I think you hope you get into a situation where the All Blacks start to push away in the last 20, and then you can throw them out there and give them some game time. So I'm not expecting a big win for the All Blacks. I think it'll be tight. I think the All Blacks will win, but I don't think it'll be, they'll have it all their own way. So I don't know how likely that is, but I still think it would be a good time to get a look at Jacob. And then the last player, the outside backs replacement, I've got Narawa. He covers the whole back three. He covers centre as well. So, you just have your pick of where to use him. He's perfect in there for an injury, or if you just want some injection, freshen things up there. So I've gone with Narawa. He also has played 0 minutes in forever. So get him in there and get him up to speed as quick as possible. Yes, that's my 23, guys. There's a few things here with like Tavatava Nawai and Semesi Tupu Taialoa. I haven't thrown them into the team just yet. I just think it's too early. Guys, I know I put Jackham on the bench, but I just feel like these guys, especially Semesi, getting the call up and being in the team a week ago, and I just think it's a little bit too early to throw him in there. Maybe you see him come off the bench in a game where there's a few more All Blacks like first teamers in that team. Just to get the balance a little bit better. And then Jacob's the only one that I've really gone for, but I just think with having Bowden Barrett there is a fair amount of experience. I think we'll see those guys who are getting their first cap sort of eased into the team, especially in positions where there is a fair few other options. Well, that's it, guys. A nice short one for a Sunday. Thanks for watching. As always, please like and subscribe and leave all your comments. I really want to hear what you guys think, who you think the team will be, or if you got any other sort of interesting ideas around the All Blacks and the greatest rivalry tour that you want to share. I'm all ears and love to hear what you guys think. So please let me know in the comments. And as I said, please, if you can, subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. I guess we'll wait and see what the team will be, and when it's named, and we'll get back on here and have a little look at that team. Have a good week, guys. Take it easy.